Karmelo Anthony will be back in court first thing tomorrow morning, this time asking for a new trial. And a new judge was appointed to hear that appeal.
As Jobin Puneker reports, Anthony's new defense team will argue he didn't receive a fair trial.
Supporters for Karmelo Anthony stood on the Collin County Courthouse steps, pleased with the ruling that replaces the judge for the next step in his appeal.
He didn't want to accuse the judge of any formal canon violations, which is a whole separate matter, but concerning the motion for a new trial, he's no longer qualified.
Lee Merritt represents Anthony's new appellate defense team led by Russell Wilson. Anthony was in court in a green prison jumpsuit. He was convicted of murder in June and sentenced 35 years in the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf.
And if I follow the law?
Judge John Roach presided over that murder trial. The defense argued his decisions on the public's limited access and repeated statements that, quote, he followed the law in a WFAA interview after the verdict show he cannot be fair.
Following the law.
For me, that was shocking. As a layperson, I am not an attorney, but that was shocking.
Bill Werski is with the Collin County DA's office. He thought Judge Roach did a fine job, but also said he doesn't represent him. Judge Sid Harrell ruled after an hour and 20 minutes. Judge Roach will not handle any further hearings in the case.
Which is a victory for the Carmelo supporters. There's no doubt that they're happy because technically that's probably the first victory they've had in this case since it started. But it doesn't really change the landscape of what's next.
And what is next is a much, much higher bar, the motion for a new trial.
I think that the law will require a new trial based on the facts that we have discovered so far.
The defense will argue a breakdown of an unrecorded gentleman's agreement between both sides hurt Carmelo's defense. They argue that breakdown gave Anthony only minutes to decide whether to testify. They'll argue the public did not have legally sufficient access to this trial, with limited seats and no cameras. Motions for a new trial are rarely granted. Retired Judge Michael Chitty of Kaufman County will handle the hearing.
To be able to determine whether or not they've met the standard of proving that they, in fact, did not get a fair trial the first time around and it should be entitled to a new trial.
We need everybody on the steps, please!
The motion for a new trial could take Thursday, even spill into Friday. If granted, the process starts all over.
Justice!
If a new trial is denied, the defense can appeal to the state's Court of Appeals. In McKinney, I'm Jobin Puneker.
Look for live coverage all day tomorrow, starting at 5 a.m. on Daybreak. And right after this newscast, watch our After the Hearing special to break down developments from today. It's less than 30 minutes away on our free streaming app.
Tonight, Garland ISD confirms the 5-year-old girl who died in a hot car was a student in their district. They are bringing in crisis counselors to talk to students and staff at her school. Police say an adult family member had returned home from school Tuesday with the 5-year-old girl and her sibling. Later, they realized the child was missing and found her unresponsive in the car. No charges have been filed at this time. Chief Meteorologist Pete Delkus has been warning us about these risks all summer. Pete, how much longer are we going to be dealing with this extreme heat?
Well, Cynthia, for the foreseeable future, we absolutely are. You know, in a situation like this that's 100% preventable, just have to be aware, right? So how fast does a car heat up? The high temperature yesterday and today was 105. My forecast high tomorrow is 105. And in less than 5 minutes, the inside of the car is at 112 degrees. In 10 minutes, the interior, 122. 20 minutes, the interior is 132. In 30 minutes, the inside of that car is 137 degrees. 40 minutes, 141 degrees. 50 minutes, 144 degrees. And in 60 minutes, 146 degrees. And a 5-year-old, it only takes a couple of minutes for death to take place. So please, please do whatever you can to just stay alert and understand that you have a little one in that back seat. Okay, there it is. There's our extreme heat warning in effect yesterday, today, and again tomorrow. I don't have a break in the summer heat, but I have a few tips I want to share. That and my 14-day forecast, the weekend outlook. It's going to be really, really hot. It's coming up.
A Dallas ISD police officer is home from the hospital tonight, 2 weeks after being shot in the line of duty. Teresa Woodard just spoke exclusively with Officer Justin Jones about his recovery and future plans.
His slow and steady exit from the hospital so different from his fast, frightening entrance. August 6th brought panic, but August 19th brings peace.
I feel really, really, really good. I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to have my life. And I'm glad to get home and just get back to recovery.
Dallas ISD police officer Justin Jones stopped to help a man walking in the center median of an interstate, a man who appeared to be suffering a mental health crisis. But in a Sam's parking lot, they got into a struggle. Police say that man grabbed Jones' gun and Jones got shot.
He's in our prayers.
Prayers said then, answered now.
It was spotty there the first couple of days, but once I got going, I have a fighting spirit. So it's every day is going to be better than the last.
The suspect was arrested and he remains in custody. Jones said he could not talk about what happened because it's still under investigation, but he did talk about what he's missed, his family, the sun on his face, and serving on the force.
Definitely looking forward to going back to work. That's my passion in life, and I will be there with bells on when I get fully recovered.
He stood and took steps on his own 2 weeks after taking a bullet. Then, with a fist bump, said goodbye to the hospital, happy to now heal at home. In Dallas, I'm Teresa Woodard.
We are working to learn more tonight about a North Texas high school football player who had to be airlifted from practice after suffering an injury. It happened at Crandall High School in Kaufman County. The district confirms a football player was injured during practice and airlifted, but tonight the district is not saying what caused the injury or how serious it is. Crandall ISD issued a statement saying, "Our thoughts are with the student and the student's family. We ask our community to respect their privacy at this time." WFAA is working to learn more about what happened and will bring you an update as soon as we have more information.
Tonight, we've learned that a Telemundo executive who worked in Texas is one of 5 Americans killed in a helicopter crash. 7 people died when the helicopter went down during a safari in Kenya. Telemundo confirmed that Jose Alberto Suarez ran several of its stations in Florida and once worked at San Antonio's Telemundo station. Miami restaurateur Roger Duarte was also killed, along with Ecuador's intelligence chief and his wife. Apache helicopters are flying again after the Army paused all training flights last Friday. It's been a week since an Apache went down near Salado, killing 2 soldiers from Fort Hood. That crash is still under investigation, but the Army says it reviewed safety protocols and deemed the choppers safe to fly.
For 4 decades, a North Texas family didn't know what happened to a woman who seemed to vanish without a trace. Now, advances in DNA technology have finally given them an answer. But as Kevin Reese reports, the discovery also reopens a murder mystery.
What's it like to get this news after 40 years?
It was pretty shocking.
Because the shocking news that arrived at this house in Alvarado took 40 years to get here.
My name is Floyd McLaren, and I was Brenda's brother.
Brenda Darnell McLaren Smith, his big sister, who disappeared in 1986. Now, so many painful years have passed, so many memories literally boxed up. He says it's hard to find pictures of his long-lost big sister, but he's still searching.
You know, when somebody's gone that long, you assume the worst, and it turned out to be the worst.
The worst in February of that year when a woman's body was found near this park in South Fort Worth. She'd been murdered, strangled, but investigators couldn't identify her. Now, DNA processed with the help of the University of North Texas Health Center for Human Identification and new technology from the Othram Company led to a match with her little brother Floyd.
She disappeared off the face of the earth. But now we know that somebody murdered her.
But now that at least some of these buried secrets have been unearthed, Floyd McLaren hopes that this DNA discovery can also lead to who killed his sister near this Fort Worth park, and most importantly, why.
If they ever catch them, I want to know, because I want to go to court. I want to ask them why. Because it was a senseless murder. There was no point to it.
Tarrant County investigators took Floyd to the Serenity section of Cedar Hill Memorial Park in Arlington, showed him the plot where Brenda McLaren has been buried all this time in an unmarked grave. He's working to get her a tombstone.
At least I know where she's at now.
And with the help of DNA, maybe get answers too.
I hope this helps. I hope they catch them, whoever did it.
Anyone with information that could help do just that is asked to call Fort Worth Police. In Alvarado, I'm Kevin Reese.
Governor Abbott wants to ban public schools from using H-1B visas to hire foreign teachers, a move that could cripple districts like Dallas ISD, which rely on them to fill hard-to-staff positions. Adriana de Alba is live in the newsroom to show us how it could impact some classrooms.
Yeah, and this could have a big impact in North Texas. Last year, Dallas ISD had more H-1B educators approved than any other Texas school district. And the district says it uses this program specifically to recruit bilingual and special education teachers. Public school districts in Texas employ more educators on H-1B visas than any other state. That's according to the National Education Association. And Dallas ISD had the most H-1B educators than any district in Texas. These are bilingual and special education teachers. Governor Abbott announced a proposal to ban public schools from hiring employees with these visas in a press conference yesterday.
Foreign influence of any kind has no place in our classrooms. We will achieve that goal.
His opponent for governor, Democrat Gina Hinojosa, calls the proposal a distraction, saying in a statement, Abbott is frantically looking for scapegoats to blame for his failed education policy. I also did speak with Zeph Capo. He's the president of Texas American Federation of Teachers, and he says these H-1B visa educators have helped fill the gap as the state faces critical teacher shortages. Now he says the big question is, how will the state fill the gap if these teachers are lost?
I think it could be potentially catastrophic. The programs, the policies that he's putting forth seem very, don't seem very strategic. They seem very much from the hip. They seem very much based on culture wars as opposed to actually congruent policy that could actually improve public education in our schools.
Well, this isn't a done deal. Lawmakers still have to approve this proposal before it becomes law. Live in the newsroom, Adriana Dale.